Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing well. I get a lot of questions asking me how I do my EDC Tanto grinds on knives like this one right over here. So today I thought I'd explain my process and take you behind the grinder and show you step by step on how I do those grinds. Here we can go ahead and compare one of our unground blanks to one that I have ground ahead of time. The general principle is that we're going to have a hollow grind on this flat cutting surface on the bottom, and then we're going to have a flat ground tip here on the front and a flat ground swedge. And then the intersection of those different grind types are going to form this nice angle here and along here and combine to make an awesome looking grind. If you're like me, when I was starting out with knife making, you might not know what the difference between a hollow and a flat grind is, so I thought I'd just quickly try to explain that. Basically, a hollow grind, if we're looking at the cross section of the edge or the knife blade, the grind will come like this on one side and then like this on the other side. Now this is way of an over exaggeration, but it helps with my point. So basically they have little hollows on each side, which gives you a really nice fine edge since you have not much material behind the cutting edge. And then a flat grind is more like a V or a wedge shape like this. And that's really good because it's a little bit sturdier for the tip grind, which I like on my Tanto blades, but it's also still fine enough that it'll cut really well. Now let's put away the pen and paper and head into the shop to do some grinding. I'm going to start by doing the hollow grind with my 8-inch contact wheel with a fresh 60 grit belt. The first thing I'm going to do is break this 90-degree angle on the edge into two 45 degrees to my center line. If you're beginning, you can start by scribing a center line so that you know where you're grinding, but since I've done hundreds of these, I really don't need to do that anymore. And then after that, I'm just going to slowly rock the knife angle a little bit shallower until I raise the grind line to the height that I want. Here you can see I have the first side just about done. And here on the second side, you can see one common mistake that I used to do a lot, where I have a little bit higher grind here where the wheel is first contacting, and then after those first 2 inches of the 2-inch wide contact wheel, it starts to dip down. So then what I do to fix that is just go really slowly and just touch up on this area here. So I'll do a little clip of grinding to try to show how I fix that. I have the rough grind done on both sides with the 60 grit belt, so now I'm going to swap over to an A100 Tri-Zax to clean it up. Here's the hollow grind done on both sides. So now I'm going to move over to the flat platen to start doing the flat grind on the tip. The flat platen is this flat bar of steel that you can grind against, and that'll allow you to get a flat grind compared to the concave hollow grind that wheel would give you. To grind the tip, I like to hold the blade at a perpendicular angle to the platen, and then I just do the same basic concept that I did for the hollow grind. So I'll just break these big corners, and then I'll slowly creep the grind up until I get the height that I want. Here's the flat grind on the tip all done. You can see where that nice intersection of the two types of grinds creates that little swooping line. The last bevel I'm going to be grinding is this swedge on the top line here. So I'm just going to use a 120 grit belt to rough that in, and then I'm going to polish it up to the same A100 Trizact belt. I usually like to run my grinder around 80% speed, but when I'm doing the swedge, I often turn it down to around 50 just so I have a little bit more control. But if you don't have a variable speed grinder, don't worry. That's just a little convenience that I like to do. Here's the finished grind. It's not super easy to pull off, but if you go slowly and practice enough, once you get in a groove, it's really not that bad. Now that I know how to do them pretty well, this type of grind is one of my favorites to do. I really like all the different contrasting angles you can get, and I also have a couple of different blade finishes that I like doing. The first one is acid wash bevels with satin flats, and that one I do by first acid washing the bevels and then going back over and polishing the flats. And then the second one is satin bevels with acid washed flats, which I do by acid washing the whole blade and then just going back over with that A100 Trizact belt and polishing up the bevels. I hope you guys find this video useful, and please let me know in the comments if you have any questions and I'll try to help you out. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one. Stay sharp.